Hey everyone, it's Bree. So today for my final project, I'm going to be talking about Steppenwolf Theatre. I'm going to talk about their history, their beginnings, all the way up to what they're currently doing, their mission, Steppenwolf education, all that kind of stuff. So just a general overview of Steppenwolf. So we will start off with their beginnings. So Steppenwolf was founded in 1974 by Terry Kinney, Jeff Perry, and Gary Sinise. It was actually originally founded by Gary Sinise and a couple of his friends from Highland Park High School in Highland Park, Illinois. They got together and decided they wanted to put on a play. They produced And Miss Reardon Drinks a Little, which was their very first show. They actually had the name Steppenwolf all the way back in 1974. Story has it that they were sitting together and they had to come up with a name for this company that was going to put on the play. And one of the members was reading Steppenwolf and he pulled it out of his bag and was like, "What about this?" And they were all like, "Yeah, that works." So that's how they got the name, and then they just decided not to change it. There's also a band called Steppenwolf, and for a while they would have to like disclaim like we are not the band Steppenwolf. Sorry if that's what you're looking for. That's not us. We're a theater company. So they have a little story on their website, which is pretty funny. And then later, that was in January of 1974 when they got together to put on And Miss Reardon Drinks a Little. And then in June of 1974, Gary Sinise teamed up with Jeff Perry and Terry Kinney, and they put on the rest of their first season. So Grease, Glass Menagerie, and Rosencrantz and Guildenstern Are Dead. And then next year, they formed their first official ensemble in 1975, which consisted of Terry Kinney, Jeff Perry, Gary Sinise, H.E. Backus, Nancy Evans, Moira Harris, John Malkovich, Laurie Metcalf, and Alan Wilder. This year in 1975, they actually only put on one play. They produced The Effects of Gamma Rays on Man in the Moon Marigold by Paul Zindel. This was actually also the year that they officially incorporated as a company. So 1975, big year for them, like company-wise, building an ensemble, which is, I'm assuming, why they only put on one play. And then 5 years later, in 1980, the company moved to Chicago in the Jane Addams Center. So for those 5 years, they were out in the suburbs, mainly in Highland Park, Illinois. They kept putting on plays, and then in 1980, they decided that it was time to move to Chicago. So their mission and ensemble on their website, Steppenwolf's mission is to create thrilling, courageous, and provocative art in a thoughtful and inclusive environment. They go on to say that they succeed when they disrupt your routine with experiences that spark curiosity, empathy, and joy. So they're very interested in putting on kind of unique works. They perform a lot of plays produced and written by their ensemble. So their ensemble, they have an ensemble of more than 50 actors, directors, and playwrights. Most of their shows start at Steppenwolf, and many of them transfer to other houses across the country. So they've transferred to New York, they've transferred to houses in California, kind of all over the place. Their ensemble is just kind of like a network that they have of everyone who's involved in Steppenwolf. Usually their shows are directed by an ensemble member, sometimes written by one, like Tracy Letts very frequently. Usually has a large acting ensemble or a large acting cast that is made up of a decent amount of their ensemble. Current ensemble members that are pretty notable include Tracy Letts, Gary Cole, Rajiv Joseph, Tina Landau, Terrell Avon McCraney, and Anna D. Shapiro, who's the current artistic director of Steppenwolf, along with her husband. He's also in the ensemble, Jan Barford, who is an alum of ISU. All original ensemble members are also currently in their ensemble, except for two, and I do not know their names off the top of my head. But once they are in the ensemble, they're kind of there for life. It's a very like tight-knit group from what I understand, which is really cool. So some of their notable productions. True West by Sam Shepard was featuring John Malkovich and Gary Sinise. It was the first Steppenwolf show to transfer to New York in 1982. And then 2 years later, Balm and Gilead by Lanford Wilson. It was directed by John Malkovich, and then it moved off Broadway from 1994 to 1985. So that was Steppenwolf's first off-Broadway production. And then The Grapes of Wrath by John Steinbeck, which was adapted and directed by Frank Galati, so he adapted it from the novel. That opened on Broadway in 1990, and it won the Tony Award for Best Director and for Best Play. And then 5 years later, Buried Child by Sam Shepard. It opened Steppenwolf's 20th anniversary season in 1995, and then it moved to Broadway in 1996. The production received 5 Tony nominations, including Best Play. And then August Osage County by Tracy Letts. He is one of the ensemble members. It premiered at Steppenwolf and then also transferred to Broadway in 2007, and it won 5 Tony Awards, Best Play, Best Direction, Best Leading Actress, Best Featured Actress, and Best Scenic Design. Some more East of Eden by John Steinbeck, adapted Frank Galati. He also adapted The Grapes of Wrath. This one was directed by Terry Kinney, one of the founders, and then it opened Steppenwolf's 40th anniversary season. And then Passover by Antoinette Landau. It was filmed by Spike Lee and then premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. The production is actually released on Amazon Prime. It's still up there. I actually watched it, I think over winter break. It's really great. I highly suggest it if you guys are interested in seeing some of Steppenwolf's work, especially now that they are not producing anything in the middle of this pandemic. I really recommend it. It's fantastic. And then the most recent production that transferred is The Minutes by Tracy Letts, another play by him. It was directed by the artistic director Anna Shapiro. This show transferred to Broadway this year in 2020. However, all performances are currently canceled through June 7th due to COVID-19. So it was on Broadway for a little bit. With everything going on, nothing is on Broadway right now, so they have not made an announcement on their website as of right now of whether or not they are going to stay open after all of this. I know some other shows on Broadway have already closed, like they won't be reopening back up once Broadway does. The Minutes has not made that decision yet. Hopefully it will reopen, but that is their most recent show to transfer to Broadway. So their current location, like I mentioned, they moved to the Jane Addams Center in 1980. And then in 1982, they moved to a location on Halsted Street, which is not their current location on Halsted Street. It's a little farther away. And then in 1991, they opened a new complex, which is like where they're currently at. So there are 3 current theaters in this complex. There is the Upstairs Theater, which is a 299-seat theater that provides audiences with a more intimate theatrical experience. And then they have their main Downstairs Theater. So that is a 515-seat theater that presents world premiere productions and fresh interpretations of classic and contemporary plays. So that's like their main theater. If you walk in to Steppenwolf, that's the one that's right in front of you, next to the gift shop. And then they also have their 1700 Theater. It's an 80-seat theater dedicated to showing the work of ensemble members and emerging local theater companies. So that one's for smaller, more intimate shows. I think they have like cabaret nights there sometimes. A much smaller and more intimate theater. So they do have that current campus, and they are actually in the middle of planning a campus expansion. So it's in 3 phases, kind of like how our both student center revitalization is in 3 phases, one of which is already completed, which was done, I think, in 2016. Phase 2 is expected to be done in 2021. They haven't made any announcements if this pandemic is influencing that. I know in Illinois, construction is still considered an essential business, so I think construction on that is still continuing. Hopefully so, because in July next year, as part of the campus expansion, there's going to be a new 400-seat theater in the Round, which will actually replace the upstairs theater. A couple of concerns have been like, well, it's 400 seats, which is way bigger than the upstairs theater is now. Will it be less intimate? And the answer is actually no. It's only going to be 6 rows deep, and no audience member will be more than 20 feet from the stage. So even though it has more seats, it's actually going to be a much more intimate experience, which is, I think, super cool. So just to talk about some awards and recognitions that Steppenwolf has achieved, in 1985, they won the Tony Award for Regional Theater Excellence. In 1998, they won the National Medal of Arts, which is awarded to them by President Bill Clinton. In 2000, the Illinois Arts Alliance Foundation recognizes Steppenwolf with the Illinois Arts Legend Award. It was an annual award that was founded the year before. In 2001, it won the Drama League Unique Contribution to Theater Award. In 2001, it won the Otto Rene Costello Award for Political Theater, and in 2003, they won an Equity Special Award. They did not say what for on the website, but they won an Equity Special Award. Steppenwolf is also really interested in outreach and education. They have a ton of different programs for this. There's something just called Steppenwolf Education. They have a lot of different programs under that to help education students in a variety of unique ways. So something underneath that is Steppenwolf for Young Adults. It brings high-quality theater to artistically curious young adults. They do 2 full-scale shows every year that are open to students during the week, and then they're open to the public for like weekend matinees, but it's mainly geared towards students, which is really cool. They also have something called the School at Steppenwolf. It's a 10-week residency in the summer for experienced actors who want to learn more about the ensemble traditions, values, and methods that make Steppenwolf unique. They also have a ton of professional leadership programs. They have internships, which are unpaid and they are for early career professionals. They have a ton of different internship categories. They have them for theater management, artistic and slash casting, education, production. So they have a whole list on their website. Those are every summer. They have canceled them for this summer, unfortunately, but I do not blame them. Then they also have apprenticeships, which are paid training programs for early career arts administrators or theater production practitioners. And then they also have fellowships, which is a leadership development program specifically geared to early career people of color. And then kind of as a what are they doing now with everything going on? So unfortunately, they've canceled the rest of their season due to COVID-19. They are moving some of the productions to try and work in next year's season, but they did announce their season for next year. They haven't announced how they are going to work in the shows that have been canceled and how they're going to work that into next year's season, but they did announce next year's season, which includes a production of The Seagull, which will be the first show in their theater in the round. They also have something called What's Next conversations. They've been doing these over Zoom. It's people who are working with the school, Steppenwolf, like Steppenwolf Education, and they're interviewing people. So the first one is available on YouTube, where they actually interviewed the artistic director and Jan, which was really cool. I didn't see any of the other ones up on YouTube. They might put them up by the time you guys are watching this. But those have been really helpful. They're on Zoom. If you go to Steppenwolf's website, I think you can sign up for them. I know Jenny has also posted a couple in the theater page on Facebook. She posted the link to one of them, so if you also reach out to Jenny Goyer, I'm sure she would be able to get you information for that. If you sign up to be on their email list, they'll email you with information. They've been really helpful, and you can also submit your own questions if you have any questions for whoever they're talking to that week. They've been Tuesdays at noon. And then I do have a little YouTube clip for their season announcement. So, oh gosh, I don't know what that is. We're going to wait for that to open. It might take a while. My internet's been kind of shut. Oh, okay, there it goes. So this is their season announcement. Okay, so that is just kind of kind of a overview of their next season. They have not, like I said, they have not announced how the plays that they canceled are gonna fit in. But also, if you want any more information about Steppenwolf, like I said, they have their YouTube channel. This is the What's Next conversation that I mentioned. They've got a ton of information on their YouTube channel if you'd like to learn any more about Steppenwolf. But that is all that I have for you today. So thank you very much, and have a nice rest of your day. Bye, everyone.